Hello everyone. Today we are going to go through weapons. As of today, there are 32 weapons in the game, with 27 currently obtainable from multiple sources, between free events, paid events, or directly from the shop. There are 57 commanders, and I assume all the commanders at some point will have their own weapon. So we are pretty much halfway through the weapons already, and that's why I think it's time to review them. In this video, we will discuss the weapons, how they work, reforging and locking, how to get the weapons, and finally which weapons you should go after. So how do weapons work? First of all, weapons come in different tiers: green, blue, purple, gold, and red. For the red weapons, they have 3 tiers on their own. Some of them are obtained for free from events, like Crisp, others from paid events or from the shop directly, like Annie's, and lastly the expensive commanders like Cersei or Jean. Each weapon currently released belongs to a specific commander. Each one of those weapons serve 3 purposes: increase stats, buff the commander's 4-star ability, increase army size by 5,000 when the weapon is at 4 stars. So, for number 1, you see how each weapon have base attributes and random attributes. Base attributes is fixed and can't be changed. Like in this example, it will give infantry attack plus total health. Those stats can't be modified and can only be increased when you upgrade the weapon. The max at 4 stars would be 50%. The base attributes or stats are based on the weapons. There are weapons for inf, cav, spears, bows, and total attack. You can view them from the weapon list tab in the game. This is everything, and those tabs are for specific troops. The one with the shape of a box is for the total attack one. The second part is random attributes. Those attributes can be changed or rolled using the weapon reforged stone. This mechanic works in a similar way of a washing stone in refinement. If you click on the exclamation mark here, you will be able to see the rules, random attribute list and their max values, and finally the sort by reforge. This one will get you a notification message before rolling a locked stat, so that way you don't re-roll something you want, like base attack increase or a total attack. It's like locking a preferred stat in refinement. So when you roll, you have 2 RNGs here. First, getting the stat that you want, and then getting it with high value. So you could get a base attack increase, but it could be green number. Then if you want a higher number, you have to roll again, but you might not see another base attack increase in many rolls. When you roll, all unlocked attributes will roll again, and you can save the new ones as a whole or roll again. Rolling reforged cost depends on the color of the weapon. Green will cost 1, blue will cost 2, purple will cost 4, gold will cost 10, red free to play 40, red from a paid source 100 per roll. Once you have found a good attribute with high values and you're happy with it, you can lock it so future rolls won't change it. The locking cost increases based on how many attributes you already locked in the weapon and the color of the weapon. It costs 4 then 12 for purple, 10 then 30 for golden, 40, 120 then 360 for free red weapons, 200, 600, 1800 for paid weapons. And finally F5 weapons. I don't have the whole locking cost, but I know it starts with 600, so I'm assuming it's gonna be 600, 1800, and then 5400 based on the increased pattern from the other weapons. Few notes here. First, total attack weapons can roll any troop attribute in random attributes. So let's say you play inf and you want only inf attributes to show up. The devs allow you to do that, but then the cost of rolling jump from 100 to 250 each. Second, the random attribute color or value can't exceed the weapon color itself. So this means you won't roll a red infantry attack on a purple or golden weapon. If you see here in this example, those are capped at purple, and those are max value. You can also double check from the exclamation mark with the random attribute list what is the max value that you can get. Third, you can't equip the same weapon multiple times. So if you have Arya's weapon and you got another Arya's weapon, you can only use one, like in the example here. So what is the best attributes? Regardless of your playstyle, there are certain 2 attributes that will always be the best. Let's take Chris' weapon for example. Base attack increase. This one increases the base damage of the troop type. Don't be deceived by the small number. Let's say you roll 10 base inf attack increase. Here for inf base attack is 100, and now it will become 110. That's an increase of 10% of the overall. So if your infantry stats are 1500 between inf attack and total attack, then you actually increased your stats by 150 overall. Imagine doing this with 5 weapons and reaching 150 infantry-based attack. Then your new value would be 2250. Please note this increase is not going to be visible in the battle report, it will be done in the backend in the report. The second important attribute is infantry attack. From here, you have 2 more spots. It's gonna depend on your playstyle and what bothers you the most. Some people like the reduction of enemy calves or enemy bows versus allied inf. Others like the reduction of enemy health. And finally, some people like the total attack and total health. I personally prefer the reduce enemy cav versus allied inf as the third slot. That way I can reduce the counter effect. And for the last spot, I prefer to increase my infantry health, since infantry have high health and it's equal to attack. Now for number 2, buffing the commander 4-star ability. Again with Chris as an example, his ability by default will give 3% infantry defense every time you lose 5% of your infantry. However, if you equip Chris with his weapon, and his weapon at level 0 stars, then his ability will change to 6% increased defense after losing 5%. At 1 star, it's 8%. At 2 stars, it's 10%. At 3 stars, it's 12%. And finally, at 4 stars, it's 15%. This is similar to most of the commanders. For example, Jaime weakness damage by default is 3%. If you have his weapon at 4 stars, then the value is changed to 6. Similarly, Salma's weapon at 0 stars increased the chance to use her ability from 80% to 100%, eliminating the RNG completely. While at 4 stars, the damage done from active skill is increased to 150%. So you can see how using these weapons and getting them to 4 stars will boost your damage greatly based on your setup. Now back to number 3, once the weapon is at 4 stars, it will increase your army size by 5,000. In order to upgrade the weapon, you will need to feed it the same weapon. It works by feeding the weapon another version of itself. From 0 stars to 1 stars you need 2 weapons, from 1 to 2 you need another 2, from 2 to 3, you guessed it, you need another 2, and finally from 3 to 4, if you said 2 then you guessed wrong. It's actually 3 weapons for the last step. So you will need a total of 10 weapons to reach 4 stars, 9 for upgrading and 1 for the original weapon itself. See you in part 2.